Hello, 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 friends. Nicholas here with DIVO TED Talks, Devoted Talks, where we take ancient wisdom and practices through a modern lens and experience to help end suffering in your life and in the lives of those you love. So, my friends, oh man, I feel great today. I've been having a lot of ups and downs lately, but I feel like I'm getting a better hang of myself and a better hang of life and its fluctuations and the yoga of it all, right? And as of late, especially by a Western standard, I haven't really been practicing regularly, as anybody would potentially think or see. But I definitely am putting in the work, such as it is, and yeah. I taught a class this morning, and it was only one girl signed up. It's been a weird week. We had weird weather. We had tornadoes on Monday and warnings, and nothing hit us, and nobody I know was hurt, which I find to be fortunate. I'm sorry for any destruction that actually did happen. But I taught a class this morning and I felt a message and I delivered it to the girl, and she repeated it back to me as she was leaving. And I was just blown away because it was good and it was appropriate for her and for me. And it just reminded me where the work is, right? The work is showing up, the work is getting quiet, the work is reminding ourselves that we are in the world, but we aren't of the world, right? We are placed here to do the things, and yet we are not the things that happen to us. We are not the things that potentially we present ourselves in the world, you know? And I'm probably going to do a three-parter here. So this will be Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, talking about different things that had in a session with the client this morning. And even with that girl that we talked about, you know, I can't even remember exactly what I said to her anymore, but it was so good. Sometimes I wish I just recorded everything I said, but one, there's, privacy laws for those people in the room. I guess if I recorded my voice, it would be another thing and just did me. But, you know, it revolved around the fact that stress instigates adaptation. And without stress, we do not adapt. And so over time, adaptations become skill, and over time, skill becomes wisdom, and experiences repeated will build on that wisdom over and over and over again. It's not exactly what I said. What I said was like that mic drop moment, but it's still on the same lines, right? And so we're not trying to end suffering, we're trying to leverage suffering and challenge and stress and exposure to new and different things into productive pathways. And so stress builds tolerance through adaptation, and that tolerance and adaptation brings us wisdom over time. And then we know how to, in the moment, act or rise to the occasion in the way that we should. And so what does this mean from yoga and Ayurveda? Well, one, if you can get it out of your head that yoga is moving your body in shapes and stretching, right? Like different places that I've worked at, we've tried to rebrand yoga and we tried to put it into like a deep stretch class, which is not even close to what it is. It's like a small fraction, and even it's not stretching. Like you can stretch, but it's not really it's not really stretching. Like that's not what yoga is. And I won't do that anymore. I won't rebrand it. I will do stretching and say, yeah, I learned some of these stretches from teaching yoga and being a personal trainer, but never again will I reduce or, de not delegitimize, but, deduct or detract or diminish yoga in the essence of what it is, which is this essence of life. Ayurveda and yoga, to me, are the same thing. Ayurveda recognizes yoga as part of the greater eight philosophies that inform it, but I don't see a lot of difference because yoga is also informed by the head philosophy that informs Ayurveda, which is Sankya's philosophy. So both are tied to Sankya's philosophy. And so to me, that is the penultimate understanding of the universe and the journey of consciousness into matter and back again. And so why do I say all this? I say all this because constantly we're trying to end stress. We're trying to make things easier for ourselves. And that creates weakness because there is no adaptation. It creates a lack of conditioning. And so then when things get out of whack, it goes crazy, right? Life is fluctuations, and sometimes it's high and sometimes it's low. And the trick is to get your feet underneath of you so that when it peaks and bucks and moves, as it will, it is not harmful to you and doesn't hurt you. And any stress that any of the challenges of those fluctuations create just make you stronger or more wise or better able to live your life and or live it with and for others. And it's so beautiful. There's so many words that I could put to this. But what I want to leave it at with you guys is to be well and be free. You must recognize that it's not happening. Being well and being free is the natural state. And so to be well and be free is to let go of all those other fluctuations and stresses and adaptations and conditioning that you have developed. To remember what you are at the core, which is Atma or a spirit or whatever you identified, the thing behind your eyes that you say is me, whatever that is to you, whatever that essence is to you, you are that. And that's it. Period. End of story. And so that is well, and that is free. It's all of these thoughts and feelings and experiences as we bump up against life that create those less than well and less than free feelings and experiences for us. And so if you're in a trough and there's waves on either side, right? If we're talking about fluctuations in life, it's an up and down. So say you're in the middle of two really high peaks. It can feel like there's no way out and you can feel contained and you can feel less than free. But when you do remember that you are already free and not subject to these things, they dissipate in a way that you're not affected by it, right? I believe that when Moses separated the waters, even if it's just metaphor or just, a mythic story, that it is possible to do something like that, but maybe the waters are emotions. Maybe the waters are not a real physical thing, but maybe they are. Who am I to know? I wasn't there, right? We can't and shouldn't always use science to explain everything. Sometimes we should recognize that the limitation of our human understanding is going to make our measuring ability of things that reduced or diminished as well. Because if we were a greater creature or consciousness or life on this planet, we could then from there create things to measure and or deduce. And so our form of science may be limited by the ways of measuring that we have, or even our consciousness's ability through mind to decipher or deliver ways of measuring that are adequate enough and accurate enough. So what does this all mean? What does this tell you? It tells you that you are doing the right thing, even if it doesn't feel like you are, and even if it feels like life isn't showing up in a helpful way, or you're not rising to the occasion in the right way, you are. But part of your struggle may be that you're recognizing the fluctuation rather than your conditioning and your adaptation. And so where is your wisdom at to get your sea legs under you so that when it's sloshing and splashing and moving, you're not affected by it as deeply? It's going to move, but if you have your sea legs, if you have your feet underneath of you, you can surf and you can ride and you can glide. And that's what it's about. Yoga and Ayurveda help deliver us to that gliding state so that we're not constantly thrown about and tossed about, because the storms of life are going to come much like they came on Monday. And safety first, friends. But if you prepare the core of who you are with the experiences of your life, life will become much more enjoyable, even when it doesn't seem like it should be, right? Have you ever met people that in spite of their circumstances, they're just like, this is great, this is fine, this is awesome, right? Some people have to go to church or be involved in religion to give themselves permission to be like that. Some people practice yoga. It's there already. And the only thing you have to do is remember that you always have, always will be, and are right now well and free, because that is the essence of, or the quality of the essence of who you are. My friends, that is my greatest wish for you. Be well and be free. But just remember that you're already that.